It's been a year of living on wheels full time, so I thought this would be a good time to share some reflections, highlights, and very few lowlights, and maybe a little bit of advice. So let's summarize. Labor Day weekend 2024, I left Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, for a cross USA tour from New York State to the California coast, Texas to Florida, along the Gulf Coast, and up from there to Ohio, and then back across to Canada at Niagara Falls.
Hi. Come here. Come. Hi. You're so handsome.
First of all, like so many full timers, I took way too much stuff. I left in a Nissan Rogue that had only 40,000 kilometers, so 25,000 miles. So, by my math calculations, I put on 30,000 kilometers in 12 months, so about 19,000 miles living in a car, an SUV. Thanks to my friends, Craig and Lisa, I had a swing away hitch for a big storage box and two lockable storage bins up top. And that was it.
So, what an amazing way to spend the first day of 2025. I didn't come here by accident. I thought that this would be a great way to bring in the new year and focus on the things that I want to achieve. It's a place of healing.
I left not knowing how to edit for YouTube, but figured I'd learn along the way, and here we are. And I learned my Starlink doesn't like forests. Most national forests don't have Wi-Fi, and I had to schedule editing and posting days. Now, if you haven't been following along, you might wonder why I chose an SUV and not something bigger. That's a complicated answer, but here we go. I moved into my SUV after my bigger SUV, a Pathfinder Platinum, and my camping trailer were taken out by a young driver who went through a stop sign on June 10th, 2022, on my way to camp with friends. I was less than 70 seconds into the trip, and it was at this exact intersection.
Expected the world, but it flew away from her reach, and the bullets catching her teeth. Life goes on, it gets so heavy, the wheel breaks the butterfly, every tear a waterfall. In the night, the stormy night, she closed her eyes.
3 years later, and I don't have an insurance settlement for my 28 injuries and my inability to work. So here we go again. Into year 2 with my sights set on adding 3 U.S. states after visiting my beloved aunt in Ohio and then returning to Canada. I will be traveling across Canada to Vancouver Island in British Columbia and spending the winter there. And then in Baja, Mexico, doing van life for about 6 weeks.
When she was just a girl, she expected the world, but it flew away from her reach, so she ran away in her sleep and dreamed of paradise, paradise. Every time she closed her eyes.
weeks ago, I said to you, in addition to telling you I'm writing a book about this, that you changed my life. I'm assuming that's not the first time you've heard that.
No, I've heard that once or twice.
How does that make you feel?
Good. It is actually one of the goals of what I do is to make people's lives better. So that feedback is always good.
I obviously, because of cheap RV living, I know a bit of your history. The night that you were crying in, I think a van that you had rented.
No, I had bought a box fan.
Oh, you had bought a box fan, and you were working so that you could help with, do child support. Did you ever foresee this? I mean, your life has become a completely different entity than you started out with.
No, at no point in along the way would it ever have occurred to me that what it could become what it became. And all along the way, it was just I was presented with choices, and I always chose so that I could help more people. Just that being my North Star, my guiding light, was if you can help more people, then do so, because that's why we're all here on this planet, is to do as much good for each other as we can. And so I just chose at every step of the way that this would help, this would help someone, so I should do that.
So in less than a month, tens of thousands of people are going to come for the RTR, which is you're the star of the show. And when you see that movement, do you think that it's gaining momentum? Because I'm not sure if I just heard about it and decided to adopt this life, or whether there's actually a movement. But over the years, and you donate money through HAWA, do you see that this is becoming an increasing movement? Because housing prices are becoming really difficult for people.
Very difficult for people, yeah. I do think there will be more and more. Also, the really extreme weather that we've been having, both Canada and the U.S. Canada, especially with the fires, and the U.S. really, really bad too. But boy, Canada's had some fires.
And we've had tornadoes in places that didn't normally have tornadoes.
Inconceivable that the weather that's occurring, that's destroying so many lives. That will. One of the consequences of all that is that insurance costs will go way up. There are places, especially in the U.S., where they simply will not insure homes anymore. So all those, Florida, California, are the two prime examples right now. And so that insurance is going to become much more expensive. Flood insurance will become just unavailable. There's going to be a lot more people out of housing. Housing will just skyrocket. It's skyrocketed already. It's going to get worse. So yes, I consider there to be a lot more people going to be turning to living in a vehicle.
And one of the things that I hear all the time, I'm 56 years old, so I've met a lot of people 55 plus, and particularly women who are afraid. And then they get out here and they find out that there's nothing to be afraid about. But they're women who have found out that their retirement in the United States, your Social Security, is not going to pay for a bricks and sticks. Are you finding that increasingly the word is spreading that this is an alternative? Because the women that I meet and that I have interviewed for the book find they're happier than they've ever been in their lives.
Absolutely.
And they love it. Mm-hmm. And they feel safe. I mean, they make smart decisions about where to stay for a night, but and I know that obviously you can't speak on behalf of women, but what are they telling you?
Well, safety is the big issue people ask about, particularly women. We are such a fear-based society. You turn on the TV and you're just flooded with fear. You just, it's constant risk and danger and fear. And so people have come to trust the four walls of their house, their car, their work. And so we've kind of become a people that, because of weather and heat and cold, we go from our house our car, to our work, to the grocery store, to a car, we live in four walls. And we think those four walls give us safety, when in fact they do not. And so they get out here and they don't have the four walls. And they think, well, I can't be safe out here. But here, you have distance. Instead, you have the close friends you make. And so, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 of you, 12 of you will meet and camp together. And you look around and there's no one around. And you're safer than you've ever been because of the distance between you and anybody who might want to harm you and the community you build. That's real safety. Community is real safety. Your walls are not. And so, yeah, a lot of people find that they're safer than they've ever been.
When you and I first met, I told you that I feel safer out here than I do in cities. And that driving through, it's difficult to get to some places. I have driven from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada to here. I was in Las Vegas last night because I had to fly back in after some visits at home with some loved ones. I sleep really easy out here. If you asked me to sleep in a major city and what they call stealth camping, that would make me a little uncomfortable.
It is.
This makes me feel very comfortable. And the other thing that I often thought about, Bob, is that the other people that are around me are living the same life, and they're not going to steal stuff from me.
Yeah.
They're not going to come and try to, invade my space. And there's this respect for you don't come on to kind of the circle unless you say, hey, can I ask you a question? And they stand a fair distance away.
Right.
Cities don't operate like that.
No. You're so packed together that you don't really have a personal space. It's violated all the time.
I wanted to ask you, I've watched Nomadland 6 times now. I watched it again about a couple of weeks ago after I met you. And it really spoke to community. I feel you were in it, but it spoke to a woman who found her people and some of the senior women. What was your experience with that? Because it really was a tribute to what you built. Well, it must have been emotional to go through that.
I would say so. Absolutely. We, in fact, for the movie, we recreated the RTR, a woman named Linda May, who was the real world
and
basis,
Swanky
and Swanky,
Swanky
were the basis of the character the movie was built around, Frances McDermott's character. And so we recreated that RTR, and it was all people I knew, and most of them had been at that actual RTR, and so we were all friends and community. And I just thought, what a wonderful thing this is. And this was my decision 15 years ago now to let's have a gathering. People came, and it's kind of people need community, and we don't get it. We're both of them in Canada and U.S. All modern societies are very alienated from each other. And the key is here to break down that alienation and to really genuinely connect. And nearly everyone I know that comes out here will soon discover that people are wonderful. They know they're just, if you need help, someone's giving you help. If you're having a problem, someone's bothering you, say it's a rare chance that could happen, someone's going to come around and help you. And it just changes your whole worldview when you see how really great the average person is.
And you're from Alaska. I'm from just north of New York State. One of the things I hear sometimes is, but it's so far to drive. And as you know, because of injuries from a car accident, I do it in 3-hour increments. Does going home to Alaska ever impact you with it's so far and it's going to be so much? Because I know, and I'm, as you know, only 3.5 months into this, I find it delightful to plan the little things that I can see along the way because I can't drive for 12 hours. How do you approach your driving? Because you do a lot of it. Like you drive a lot.
I do. I did a video here, I think 2 years ago now, about I flew to Alaska because I have a son that lives in Alaska, so I'm in Alaska pretty often. And I flew to Alaska and I rented a U-Haul van. Or if it hadn't been a U-Haul van, I could have rented a minivan, or I could have rented a car and then tent camped. But that's not the best thing in Alaska. A lot of bears. So I rented a U-Haul van, and the video was showing how I set it up. I went to a thrift store and I bought sleeping bags and I bought a cot. I just set it up to live in. And so, if you're going to be in one place, it might be worth it to fly, and then create a home for yourself once you're there. What I've done since then is I actually bought a small used car from a friend, very small used car.
Like mine.
Yeah, but smaller than yours.
Smaller than mine.
Mine's a Scion, a Toyota Scion.
Yeah.
And man, it is a tiny car. But I drove it to Alaska and left it. So now I have a summer home in Alaska. So I will fly in.
Yep.
Got a car waiting for me.
Oh,
It's
that
set up
one.
to
Sorry,
live in.
I misunderstood the one that you have here in Quartzsite. So you have an SUV here in Quartzsite. So yes, I did see the video where you have a small home away from home now.
Yeah, I've got a summer home in Alaska.
Yeah, and your son likes to camp. So
Yes,
so he
very
could
much.
be outside of the vehicle.
Yes.
And do that. Okay.
And I met a best friend along the way.
You just
Unbelievable.
all down. It comes. Tent is inside, so I always just double check that. Pull it all in, and just pull down, and then just resecure it.
And you've never had a water leak?
I have not. No, I had.
Delene and I met in Magnolia Beach, Texas, with Lulu's women's group, and we were so engaged in conversation. I visited her in Texas, but we never took a single photo. So as they say, here we go again. Year 2. Oh, there's my Buddha from Vietnam. And off we go.
3 nights in a row, and Lord, it's hard to find that girl when she gets the urge to go.
We left Cherokee to come up here, and this area of the point at the very height of the Smokies was originally named for the indigenous people who lived here, named by them as a place of healing. And then some white guys came along and named it something else, and now it is back to its original name. And there, I'll put the shot of the plaque in, and now dedicated to the healing nature that these mountains first brought to the indigenous people of this area as they were being moved out of other areas. And now they have their name back. And it's just a magical place. It's wonderful.
When she was just a girl, she expected the world, but it flew away from her reach. So she ran away in her sleep.